so many people are like looking for this one perfect person, and they have this idea of, if I can just find out one person among all the billions of people on earth, then my life will be so much better.
You're not working with the entire billion of men. You're working with the set number of people that actually find you attractive or find you some, level of tolerable. You're not gonna be appealing to the entire
Right.
majority.
You might not even be appealing to your one.
Welcome, guys. Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, fam.
Oh, yeah. This is around the time where resolution starts getting challenging. But how are yours going?
They're going.
Yeah.
They're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
How
Or
about
you,
you?
you can be smart like me and just, choose to
Not set any.
Mhm. Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
that's one way to go about it.
Oh,
But
yeah.
we're excited for this year. We're excited about the podcast and getting more consistent with it.
Yes.
But without wasting much time, we wanted to start this year off on a super positive note. So this episode, we're going to talk about why you will never find the one.
Ever.
You'll never, ever
Ever.
find the one. That's super positive. A super positive way to kick off the year. Because the thing is, so many people are like looking for this one perfect person, and they have this idea of, if I can just find out one person among all the billions of people on earth, then my life will be so much better. But we're finding that that's not really how it turns out. And if that's the way you're thinking, then this episode is definitely for you. We think there are some things you might want to consider.
Yeah, I would say that in terms of also attributing a lot of characteristics, a lot of great characteristics to this person in terms of perfection, in terms of, they have to know me and be able to handle me and all these things that are not necessarily true, because at the end of the day, you are marrying a human being. Like, you're not going to have an angel, but I don't want to go off too much on a tangent, but essentially this person is going to have good and bad. They're going to come with different qualities and different characteristics and their past, as well as, who they're wanting to be constantly in conflict, learning, maturing, growing, as well as the same way you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think that's something that we might consider, is that, we are very much aware of our upbringing and the things that we've been through and stuff, but sometimes we idealize these
Right.
people, and it's like you don't even consider that they might have had some trouble in their past, or a rough childhood or whatever. It's like you build up this perfect idea of a person,
Right.
and it can get pretty problematic.
And the frustration actually comes in when you're dealing with people around you currently, and they're not giving, the qualities that you're looking for. And it's not from a place of, oh, this is just something that can eventually change, or this is something that they're able to be taught out of, but it's more of, oh, my husband will never do this kind of mindset, where
Yeah.
it's like, oh, I just have to put up with, who is around me. And, but whenever God sends me that perfect person, I wouldn't have to deal with this. And it's like,
Yeah, that might not be the case. It could be that they're afraid. Marriage is a lifelong commitment, and we've seen marriages come and go. Relationships, whatever. Some people that you might think, oh, these people would never break up, or they'll never get a divorce. You see it happening. So for a lot of single people, I can imagine it's that idea of, if I don't find that one person that I know 1,000% is like setting me up for life, to do life with this person, I don't want to make a move. It has to be that exact person. And that fear can rather rob you of some great people or a great person that might come your way. What do you think?
It keeps you narrow-minded, essentially. Keeps you in a place of waiting for perfection rather than creating, or rather than putting in the work. Not necessarily to have perfect, but to have something that is more compatible to your life, to your lifestyle, to where you want to go. And so ultimately, I feel as though, like, the conversation is not necessarily like you'll never get married. No, but essentially look around you and then see. First of all, look within you, actually, and then know what you want, where you're going, and then look around you to see who essentially would be a great fit for where you are headed.
Right. Yeah. And does it even make sense? Let's talk facts. You know me. I'm a logical person. I'm a logical person.
Yes.
I look at facts and figures and probabilities and stuff like that. There are about 8 billion people on this planet, right?
Right.
Slightly more than half are women, and the other 3.5 whatever are men. Now, most of these people are younger than you, or younger or older than you. Like, they're not in your age range to get married to you. So that narrows it down. And now, if you're a woman, like, you're men, and then you're looking at men. If you're a man, you're looking at women. So you've already lost billions of people, right?
Right.
In just filtering out these few people. And now you factor in countries and neighborhoods and vicinities, and how many people do you even know that you can
Accessibility.
remember their names right
Right,
now?
right.
So your circle is already very, very small. What are the chances that you're gonna meet this one perfect person in the small circle, or the few number of people that
Have access
you
to.
have access to, or that you will have access to?
Right. And it's not like God is not he's not wicked in terms of like, oh, I have this one out of a billion person for you. Well, it's your job to to find them, or to, or essentially like, I would just have you live your life, and then boom, like, in terms of, does it make sense? Like, I guess let me kind of break it down. No, it doesn't make sense, because it's more tailored towards a character. It's more tailored towards a personality. Not necessarily all personality, but it's more of like who within themselves has certain traits that would benefit you in the long run.
Right. I see it as a kind of person,
Exactly.
rather than a person.
Right.
God knows you. He knows your past. He knows your history. He knows what he has called you into. He knows what he wants you to do. He knows the way he has formed you and every aspect of your personality. And so I believe that it won't be one specific person, but it will be like compatibility,
There'll
someone
be
that you're actually compatible with.
Right.
And it doesn't mean that you're perfectly compatible with. It just means that where you're going and how you are and who you are lines up enough with where they're going, how they are, and who they are. Doesn't mean that if you're a pilot, you have to marry a pilot, or God won't bring you a doctor or a mechanic or whatever. No, it's just, you get what I'm saying.
I understand what you're saying. In terms of, if you're a given person, you also need someone that is able to give to you, or pour back into you. If you are someone that is very strong, you need someone or that you can be soft or weak or vulnerable around, where you don't always have to be strong. So I get what you mean in terms of like someone that makes sense for your life.
Right.
And
It's a kind.
a kind of person.
Yes.
So we actually would like to challenge. We want to challenge that notion of, oh, God is gonna send me that person to know. God is gonna open your eyes or train you how to spot certain characteristics that are of Him, that contribute, or what is the word, or that, what's the word I'm looking for? Certain qualities that add, that benefit a healthy home.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a healthy home possible.
Yeah.
And ultimately, God is gonna train you so diligently to know how to notice what true love is. Divine love looks like, both when He loves you and your ability to accept that love, and also when another human being is showing you love, so you can determine, or you can differentiate what is meaningless gestures and what is genuine love.
That's true. And you also learn to kind of tame your expectations, because a lot of the times when we're looking for the one, we have such high standards. Like, we create this, I don't know, even
Never do
Thor
no
couldn't
wrong.
come close to the kind of person, like the kind of person that's the nerd in me, the kind of person that we create in our minds, that this person is going to be exactly the height I want, exactly the shade or color. They will have the exact interest that I want. Like, you're putting so many things into a pot, and the more you add, the fewer people fit that criteria until you end up with zero.
With zero, exactly. And honestly, a lot of people forget that they are working with already such a small list. We mentioned earlier that there are billions of people in the world. You're not working with the entire billion of men. You're working with the set number of people that actually find you attractive, or find you some level of tolerable. You're
Yeah.
That find you a bearable person. So you're not gonna be appealing to the entire
Right.
majority.
You might not even be appealing to your one. if you really think about it, but we'll get to that. We'll get to that though.
Most
So
people aren't actually. Sorry, not to cut you off, but most people aren't because a lot of the times they have this like, oh, he must be 6 feet, six figures, and six packs, and
why is everything six?
that's
I don't get
the
it.
mark of the beast.
Wow.
But ultimately, that person like so to be more realistic and to increase your chance of getting the life that you want, which if we're dealing in terms of marriage and a family and all these things, you have to be realistic as to who do I actually attract, and based off of who I attract, who is attractive to me.
Mm. Would they leave if they're the one? Because that's a saying that people say, like, oh, if this person is in my life, if they're really the one, they're not gonna leave.
It's
Like
a
they'll stick here through thick and thin.
it's such a immature way of looking at life.
Mm.
It's such a selfish way of, oh, I can do or I can act or do as I please. And if they were really the one, they would stick it through because the one no
Yeah,
like
no, you can't not be treating someone right. They're a human being.
exactly.
They have feelings, they have emotions. They're also a person. And the same way you expect someone to treat you right, even if they think you're the one, you also need to treat someone right, even when you think that they're the one for you. But having this idea of, oh, I did something wrong, but why is he upset or why is she upset? If they were really the one for me, they wouldn't do this and do that. Like that's not how life works. If you're really going to go into marriage or in a relationship, you have to recognize when you're wrong. You have to recognize when it's time to pull back a little and be like, hey, you know what? I'm the one who messed up in this.
Right.
Not, oh, why are you complaining? Like if you're really the one for me, then you
You
wouldn't
would
do that. You just
understand.
accept it and you would understand. Like, no, it's not that they don't understand, it's that they're a person too.
Exactly. And honestly, a lot of people don't really know how to take responsibility, even if the person is a very great fit for your life. How you treat them goes a long way into them deciding for themselves if you're someone that is, for lack of a better word, worth the fight, worth putting up with. And a lot of people have this notion of they have to like go through all these tests. And don't get me wrong, I'm one for qualifying tests and I'm one for, having people show you who they truly are, their true character. But ultimately, how as much as they are wanting to get close to you, you also have to strive to serve them, to please them, to show them why you are like, I don't know how to,
Suitable.
yeah, a suitable match. Why you are someone that why you are someone that is ultimately like a good fit for their life as well.
Yeah, yeah. And you're not trying to make someone earn their spot. You're trying to navigate probably a bunch of people and see whether this person is a fit. But like you're not trying to make them earn it. If they're not a fit, they're not a fit. But we'll talk about choosing, and even in probably the next episode, talk about really dive into picking specifically. But I think generally speaking, you need to let go of some fantasies and choose based on real life things, things that actually happen, things that you actually see. Not discounting faith and internal. And when I say things you can see, I'm not talking about physical traits either. I'm talking about the demonstration of certain character traits. So the things themselves are invisible, but they are able to be demonstrated. You can see when someone is loving. You can tell when someone is a hateful person, or if they hold on to anger and things like that.
Right. And even going off of what you talked about with certain character things that you can see, there are certain things that you also have to train yourself to look out for. There are certain gestures that are empty gestures in of themselves. So when you pair an empty gesture with an already good person, an already good man, an already good woman, it just amplifies it. But if you pair an empty gesture to someone that doesn't love you, someone that doesn't care about you, is just a gesture. And so sometimes we try to put weight into some empty gestures, forgetting that this person is not a good person. This person is not, what I mean by good person is that they're not good to you. You might be good to them and good for them, but they might not necessarily be good to you. And I can break it down a little bit
Yeah,
more. Like
what is an empty gesture?
an empty gesture, I would say like opening the door,
Okay.
or bringing flowers and
Oh.
chocolate and certain things that we society pushes as, oh, this is love, or they, and what would be more of a substantial gesture is someone that is willing to go to work to provide for their family, someone that is willing to go with you to appointments, and say, for instance, your car breaks down, is this person able to leave whatever they're doing just to make sure that you're good, you're safe, you're okay? Can they come back, by your place if you're sick, or you have a flat tire? Can you depend on this person? So don't, like, we, especially with our generation, we tend to focus so much on the minor. We major on the minor and we minor on the major, so we don't pay attention to the things that reveal their true character, that
Right.
reveals their true nature, but instead we focus on things that we are being fed as a
As
fairy
a
tale.
standard, yeah. So
Exactly.
someone, I get what you're saying. People really emphasize, oh, buying flowers and doing these things like opening doors, or you need to open a door for a woman. And we're not saying you shouldn't do those things. We're
It's like a
saying,
checklist.
yeah, like on the list of priorities, you could have a really good person, and we use good in the way that makes sense in this context. You can have someone that's good for you, or a suitable person for you, and they just don't know how to do those things. We call it training in this house. We had to train each other to love us in the way we wanted to be loved. And
Right.
so the person might not be trained in just even general affection. They might not know that, hey, most girls like chocolate or flowers. Like Oge doesn't like flowers, so you will never see me buying Oge flowers unless it's one of those fake flowers that never die, because she hates flowers because they die. But anyway, you love the person the way they want to be loved. But if I was a horrible person and I'm like, oh, most girls like flowers, and I just keep buying Oge flowers, it
Despite what.
yeah, that's probably what she has said or communicated, or I just do these external things because that's what you do for a girl you're interested in. But I don't have a good character. Then everything falls apart when it really comes down to working out a life in marriage, because
Right.
you've built up the house on sandy ground, and it's gonna fall.
You built up the life of meeting unnecessary expectations, in terms of, oh, he planned a really nice date, and that's wonderful, but when the chips are down and things get, like, life really gets, like, into deep, is this person's true character is gonna show. For instance, when the chips are down and you don't have enough to take care of her, is she still gonna be a loving and respectful wife to you? Is her loving and and her treating you the way she does, is that based on certain things that are subject to change? There are times you're gonna have a job, there might be times you lose a job. Is when things come down to it, can she really, stick by when things are not as rosy? I
Yeah.
feel like I'm saying the same thing in,
Yeah.
in different words, and I apologize for that. But essentially, you need to know who you're marrying, and we focus so much on the who rather than what they do. Rather than, I mean, yeah, you can for to a certain degree determine who somebody is based on what they do, but ultimately,
But you can fake what you do. You can
exactly,
fake the things. You
exactly,
can fake respect. You can
exactly,
fake even signs of affection. You can fake so many things, because you know that the type of person you're looking at is looking for these things.
right.
So maybe it's a guy interested, or your girl, and there's a guy interested in you, and he knows that, oh, to get this kind of girl, she loves the Lord, she does this, she does that.
She
I
likes
need to
to,
attend Bible
Amanda,
study. I need to do this. You
work
can
out.
you're right. I need to work out because she wants someone with a six pack, and I can't do anything about my height, but I know whatever, and that person can tailor their image exactly the way you want it, until now you're married and the true character comes out.
Right,
So you have to be really willing to vet their character.
right,
And of course, we'll go more into. We don't want this episode getting too long. We'll go into detail in terms of that in the future. But one thing that I think, at the very least, we need to leave this episode thinking is not just, am I gonna find the one? Because we already said you're not gonna find the person. You're gonna find a kind of person, and
right,
then based on the kind of people that God is bringing your way, you're gonna find someone among them who lines up as much as possible with you. Not saying you're gonna come
right,
in the perfect package. You're not, but you get the point.
right,
As much as you're focusing on that, even more importantly, you should be asking yourself, am I becoming the one for someone? Am I working on my character, my perception of things? What is my thought process when I'm trying to decide something? Am I comfortable being in a team where we each have a say and one of us has to compromise at some point, or we both have to compromise? How am I thinking through this marriage thing?
Am I okay
Um,
being led?
right. If you're a woman, am I okay being led? If you're a man, how am I growing in leadership? Am I learning what it means to be a husband? Am I learning what it means to be a wife? Like, are you in a way working on yourself to be that person for someone? The same way you're hoping that someone is out there perfecting themselves for you.
Or
I think that's
growing?
yeah, or growing. Are you growing at least?
Right. And honestly, a lot of the times, if you would just pause and see where people are headed in terms of their character, in terms of who they want to be 5 years, 10 years from now, and if you just allow people show that to you, you have a better understanding of how this person is gonna be to you, how this person, because essentially whether you're in the picture or not, who are they gonna be?
Mm,
And you need to accept that, because
mm,
there's but so much tilting you can tilt somebody.
mm,
You cannot have someone go a complete 180. You can just nudge, you can encourage them to be more of who they've already determined within themselves to be. So there is no, just to repeat what we've been saying this whole time, is that there's no the one. You just need to understand people, and see what you can work with and see what you cannot work with, and be
mhm.
honest within yourself as to what I'm saying that I want, what do I actually need, what do I actually want, and what is just me being.
And what is an empty desire? I
Exactly.
want.
What is a useless expectation?
Dang. Okay, so well, on that note, we're gonna be wrapping up this episode. But before we go, babe, I don't know if you know this, but this year I'm on a seafood diet. I see food and I eat it. We gotta laugh. Finally.
I love that.
We gotta laugh.
I
Oh
love
my
that.
goodness. Thank you guys for joining us in this episode. Y'all can email us at vowsandvoicespodcast@gmail.com or hit us up on Instagram in the Instagram DMs. Let us know what you think. Let us know what topics you'd like us to cover. Remember to treasure the vows and trust the voices, and we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.